DIY with Nancy. Today I'm going to share a recipe with you for Pudim Flan, Flan Pudding. This recipe is a recipe that my mom showed me how to make. She makes it like perfection every single time. If anybody asks her to bring a dessert, this is her go-to dessert. Now the only difference that I'll be doing for this recipe is that I'll be making my homemade caramel sauce. And my mom uses something that's called Caramelo. It's store-bought, and I actually have it here, just so you can see what it is. If you decide you don't want to make the caramel sauce, you can actually buy it for the Pudim Flan. So it's called Caramelo, okay? Now this Pudim Flan is very creamy and so smooth, and it just melts in your mouth. Minimal ingredients, super easy to make. So I hope you stay with me today to watch how to make my flan pudding step by step. Now for the first step, I'm going to start off by making the caramel sauce for the flan pudding. I have a medium-sized saucepan and I'm placing 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. Once you have the sugar in the saucepan, you're going to turn on your heat to a medium heat. Now my sugar is starting to melt, so I'm just going to start stirring it slowly, and you can see at the edges it's starting to bubble, and that means that the sugar is melting. And I'm going to slowly mix the sugar. Now for this step, it's very important. I'm going to stay by the stove. I'm going to occasionally stir the sugar while it's melting. I'm going to be doing this for about 10 to 12 minutes, so that's how long it will take to caramelize. And once the sugar is completely melted, and at that point, I'll show you what the next step is. It's very easy for the sugar to burn while it's in the saucepan, so make sure you stay by the stove. Now you can see that the sugar is caramelized, it has a nice golden brown color. At this point, I'm gradually adding 1/2 cup of water. And you can see it, I'm doing it a little bit at a time. Be very careful here when you're stirring the water and the sugar because it is extremely hot. Now, I've stirred together the water as well as the sugar, and I've let it boil for 45 seconds to a minute. And now I'm going to turn off my heat. I'm going to let it set and thicken, and I'm going to move on to the next step. Next, I'm ready to make the flan pudding. I'm going to be using the one bowl to add all the ingredients and combine them in this one bowl. I'm going to start with 500 milliliters of sweetened condensed milk. For the next ingredient, I'm going to add 1 liter of 2% milk. I use 2% milk for this recipe, but you can use whole milk as well. And for the next ingredient, I'm adding 8 eggs. And I'm going to just combine the eggs, mix them well before I add it to the milk and condensed milk mixture. The eggs are all mixed up. I'm going to add it to the mixture. Now I'll be using a whisk to mix all of the ingredients, which is only 3 ingredients. It's the condensed milk, the actual 2% milk, and the eggs. I'm going to start off by mixing it slowly to make sure that the condensed milk is combined well with the ingredients, and I'm not using a mixer. You can simply use a whisk. It will do the trick, and make sure it's all well combined before you pour it into your pan. Now once I have the mixture well combined, I'm ready to place it into the pan. And I'm going to be using a cake pan for this recipe. It's about a 10-inch pan, and it's a perfect size for the Pudim Flan or flan pudding. Now here's the caramel sauce that I made earlier and I set aside, and I'm going to show you how it's thickened. So I'm going to place a spoon in. I'm going to let it just drip. You see how the sugar is sticking to the spoon? That's exactly what you want, because that way it will stick to the cake pan, and that will be the caramel sauce you'll have for your flan pudding. Now we're ready to assemble the flan pudding. I'm going to start off by pouring the caramel sauce right into the cake pan. Just drizzle it all the way around. And I'm not going to use all of it because I'm going to set some aside, and I wanted to make a little extra so you can see what I can do with it afterwards. So that's the sugar, and what I'm going to do is take the cake pan and twirl it around to coat the pan all the way around and in the bottom and as well as the center, just as I'm doing here. And I'm going to do it very slowly because the caramel sauce is still hot and I don't want to get burnt. So you want to be very careful when you're doing this step. And now I'm ready to place the mixture of the flan pudding right into the cake pan. So I'm just going to give it a quick mix because it's been sitting there. I want to make sure that the mixture is well combined. And I'm just going to simply pour it into the cake pan. For the next step, before I place the flan in the oven, I'm going to place it in a square oven-safe tray and place it in a hot boiling water bath. So I'm going to pour the water right into the tray, and it's going to be enough that fills up to the cake pan halfway. Next, I'm going to bake the flan in the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 60 minutes. Now, as you can see, I have some extra caramel sauce. I'm not throwing that away. I'm simply going to place it into a mini mason jar that I have here, small one. And I'm just going to pour the balance of the caramel sauce that I didn't use and just place it into the jar. You seal it up, refrigerate it, and it's good for another time that you want to use a caramel sauce for any dessert. Of course, you're going to need to have your caramel a little warm so you can place it in a saucepan, heat it up, or just simply pop it into the microwave. I can keep this in the refrigerator for up to 2 weeks. After 60 minutes, the flan pudding is out of the oven. I'm going to let it cool and set and place it in the refrigerator for 4 hours before I remove it from the pan. The flan pudding has been in the refrigerator for about 4 hours. It's completely cool and set, and now I'm ready to place it onto a cake plate. Here's the smooth, creamy Pudim flan pudding, and all there's left to do is to cut into it and show you what it looks like. Going to add a little bit more caramel sauce right on top. Smooth and creamy. Gotta bite into this. Here it goes. Melts in your mouth. Perfect. This is such a quick and easy Pudim flan pudding recipe, and I really hope you give it a try. It's absolutely worth it. And there you have it. The recipe for Pudim Flan, a recipe that my mom has showed me how to make, and now I've shared it with you. It's a silky, smooth Pudim Flan. It's not rich. It's just perfect. And as you can see, not many ingredients, and it's super easy to make. It's just delicious, and I hope you all enjoy the recipe. I hope you give the recipe a try, and if you like the recipe, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, everyone, thanks so much for watching. Take care.